Hello everyone and welcome to Ajiro Tech. It's so good to see you again, and in this video we're going to be looking at CIE, IGCSE Information and Communication Technology, Paper 1, the theory aspect, February March 2020. The course code is 0417 and the variant is 12. Okay, this is the paper that was just released a few days ago as of the time of this recording. I'm so excited to share this with you, and as my culture is for paper 1, I get to share with you the chapters is coming from the IGCSE Information and Communication Textbook. This is the 3rd edition. Okay, so let me know if you want the soft copy of this textbook, and obviously to my students on Discord, they already have a copy of it. I think that will actually help you to just study, especially when you're in the road, in the journey, and when you don't have the leisure of your textbook. Okay, so it's with you everywhere you go. All right. So now please note that it's your paper 1 is 1 hour 30 minutes. Okay. Now the instructions are very important for you to follow, and the total marks is 80. Okay, so let's go ahead. Now the first question is, explain what is meant by the term software. What is meant by the term software? So let's look at this. We'll talk about what is meant by the term software. What do we mean? So now let's look at this. Now, software, that is chapter 1. Okay, chapter 1 of the textbook, and when we talk about software, we're talking about collections of programs, okay, that are used by a computer, okay, and it is also used to control. Take note of that. It's used to control the operation of a computer system, okay, and they're also used for the processing of data, okay, because there are programs that are used to process data as well. Now let me show you what I'm talking about. Right here in chapter 1, okay, so right here, nope, go back, nope, here, okay, before this, yes, okay, right here, after hardware. So like I said, in the textbook, it said is a general term used for the program that controls the computer system and process data. It's still the same thing. There are programs for processing of data. There are also programs, right, that are used to control the operation of a computer. And don't forget, there are programs, right, that are used by a computer system. Okay, this is what software is. All right, and of course, that brings us to the next question. I was about to talk about it. Is state the 2 types of software used by computers. Now we have 2 types of softwares. We have the system software and the application software, and you see that in the textbook as well. Now there are 2 categories of them. We have application software and the system software. For the application software, they provide the service that the user requires to solve a given task. That is what it does, right? They provide the service, right? What is that service? That particular thing that will solve that problem, right? So they provide the service that the user requires to solve a problem. Examples of them are word processing, spreadsheet, database, apps, video editing, audio editing, etc., etc. Okay. Now, the next question is, tick the device which produces hard copy. Now, obviously, we're talking about printers. Soft copies are the monitors, hard copies are the printers. Then we have buzzer. Buzzer are output devices that bring the sound. Laser printers, they produce hard copies. Touch screens can be input and also be output. And webcam are input. They capture images to the system. Okay, so laser printer it is. Okay, and you see that in chapter 2 of your textbook, when we're talking about output devices, we have the printers, we have the inkjet, laserjet, dot matrix, and then we have the 3D printer, right? Okay, question 3. So we have this. State 3 items, right? 3 items that should be included in the technical documentation of a computer system. Now, that brings us to System Lifecycle, chapter 7 of the textbook. And under the system lifecycle, we have different phases. So we have the phase of, the structure it goes in is analysis phase, design phase, development and testing phase, implementation phase. We have documentation phase and evaluation phase. Okay, I know most of you were saying that after me. Okay, maybe faster than me. Okay, it's good. Okay, now in the documentation phase, we have 2. Okay, pause the video and tell me 2. What are what? User and technical. Okay, all right. And now they said 3 items that should be included, right, in the technical. Now, when we talk about 3 items that should be included, we're not talking about the items that should be included in the technical that are not found in user. I mean, we're talking about those items that are found in technical. Even though they are found in user, they are found in technical. So we have 1, purpose of that system that you have developed. What are the limitations? Now, who are these documentation for? Don't forget, they're for the analysis, they're for the programmers. Okay, we have the program listing, we have variables, we have the file structure, output format, input format, we have validation routines, system flowchart, software requirements, hardware requirements, the programming language used, etc., etc. It's right here in the textbook, chapter 7 of the textbook. Chapter 7. Okay, so fast, right? Yes. Okay, so right here, this is all I've been saying. Okay, known bugs in the system. Is there anything I've not mentioned again? Sample runs, meaning of error message. We have so many of them. So this is what they're talking about, not the other way. So even though you mentioned the other way, it's still correct, right? It's still correct, but you just want those items that are found in technical documentation. So you just need to understand the question. But even though you mentioned the ones that are not found, it's still correct, right? But all of them are also correct. Okay. All right. Young people use the internet for research. Very, very important question. Young people, what do? They use the internet for research and communication. Now, search engines can be used to research information on the internet. Describe 3 benefits of using a search engine to find information. This is chapter 10 of your textbook. Communications. Communications. Okay, so in communications we have search engines. Now the whole essence of search engine is, before I get down to the question, is to go to sites that we don't usually have, or we don't usually have the URL for. Okay, that's the whole essence of the URL of the search engine. Okay, and we'll talk about the benefits. Okay, the benefit of why I use it is so that I can find information quickly. Okay, it's very fast. The search engine is very fast. Now imagine if I have to go to every site. Think about it. I have to go to 25 sites. I have to type the URL of all of them to find the information I want. But with the search engine, I get to even see a preview of what I'm looking for before I even go to the site. And now, as of the time of you watching this, there's ChatGPT. So it makes it all the better. Like literally makes it all the better. Like it makes it so cool. Just with ChatGPT, you can just give what you're looking for without even knowing where or what the website. Oh, so this information was from maybe water.org. Oh, okay, I got my answer, right? Okay, so it's very fast to find informations needed. Okay, another thing is the amount of information found, okay, is reduced, okay, which makes it what, easier to find relevant information, because when you're going to other sites you might find irrelevant information, but with the search engine it's only taking you to where those informations that you want are found. Now let me take you to it. Chapter 10, real quick. Chapter 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10. Okay, yeah. Chapter 10, yes. Okay, search engines. Now search engines are useful if you don't know the URL of the website, or if you want to find information but don't know where to look. Okay, and there are many of them: Google, Bing, etc., etc. They exist. Now let me show you what I've been talking about in terms of the benefit of using it. This is why it's not always fast. Okay. Yep. So we can also see it here as the advantages as well. Okay. So let's look at this. It's fast and easy. Okay. That's an advantage, but the benefit for it. Okay. I think we can see the benefit for it. Okay. Let me see. Okay. Right. Okay. Oh, this is okay. Let me see. Okay. So, but they all have the underlying features. They look up for the word intended for it as much as possible. So yeah, more relevant websites are at the top of the list. That is all the benefit for it. Now, when you're searching informations, now this is a practical question. So when you're searching for it, right, it's very fast to find the information you needed, and then again, the most relevant, right, more relevant information that you want will be at the top. And then again, we see it as the amount of information so many that is cumbersome are reduced, because it makes it easier for you to find that relevant information that you need. Okay, and there's so many of them why we also use it. Okay, and bringing this from the advantage, we can also add yeah. Okay, no, 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 no. This is just advantages. Okay, so it's fine. Okay, the B part. Social media can be used to communicate with friends. Can be used to communicate with friends. Give 4 precautions that young people should take when using social media. 4 precautions. Now, when we talk about this, we talk about communicating with friends. We're talking about netiquette. Okay, we're talking about netiquette. It's still in chapter 10 of the textbook, and I'm going to open it right here. Now we'll talk about netiquette. It means internet etiquette, which refers to the need to respect other users' view and display a common courtesy when posting views in online discussion group or even sending out mails. Now the question talks about communicating with friends. Now even when we are let me see this 4 precautions we're using. Okay, e-safety. Yeah, let's look at e-safety, right? That's chapter 8 of the textbook. Let's go to e-safety. I think that will give us what we're looking for. Okay, yes, taking part in social media. E-safety is going to help us for that. Yes. Okay, let's sending and receiving mails. Social media. Okay, when communicating. Now, using social media. Okay, using say 4 precautions that young people should take when using social media. So this is in chapter 8 of the textbook. Now, they said when using social media, it is important to be careful and make sure you know how to block undesirable people. The following list should The following list shows some of the dangers and some of the ways to protect yourself. That's precaution, right? And one of them is do not publicly post or give out personal information to people you do not know. Okay, you can block or report unwanted users, right? Don't arrange to meet people face to face. It's right there. Don't send out photos of yourself to people you do not know. Okay, they can use it for impersonation, identity theft. Now, make sure you use the privacy setting when posting photos of what? Yourself. Let it be to people that you have seen, that you know on social sites. Okay? Now, particular care should be taken not to post pictures of yourself in the form of school uniform. Okay? Now, this gives somebody information about who you are, where to find you. Okay? Only make friends with people you know. Avoid forwarding messages containing inappropriate languages. Okay? Block or report anybody. Be careful with the language used on chat rooms. Don't enter private chat rooms. Stay in public places. Never arrange to meet anyone on your own. Okay? Right? Don't meet people you do not know alone. Don't disclose your personal information. There are lots of them. Don't post inappropriate images. I'm just summarizing them for you. Okay? Don't use inappropriate language. Netiquette is still very, very important. Okay? Don't disclose your personal data. Respect people. Okay? Privacy. Respect your privacy is very, very important. Okay? And then again, there's something important right here. And they said, and I want to also stress this, is the fact that always make sure you use what? Privacy setting when you're posting photos. Very, very important. And this is how many mark? This is like a 4 mark, a giveaway. Okay? Alright, question 5. The numbers of people using online shopping has increased. Okay? Online shopping has increased. This has led to an increase in the numbers of journeys for the delivering drivers. Now, anybody seeing this will just quickly jump to online shopping, but let's be careful. Let's look at this. Now, describe how an expert system can be used to produce the best route for the delivery of what? Items. So, expert system. Chapter 6 of ICT application in the textbook. Okay. And I think it's 6.8 or 10. I don't know. Okay. But in a nutshell, an expert system talks about the user interface, the inference engine, the explanation system, the rule base, the knowledge base. The knowledge base and then the rule base. That is the structure in which it follows. Okay, that's the structure which it follows. So we look at the first one, right? We look at the first one. We will talk about how it can be used. Okay, how this can be used. Okay, to produce the best route for the delivering of items. What we are looking at is one. It has a user interface, right? Okay, so it's an interactive user interface that will ask questions about the route. Okay, so because then again, online shopping, we have delivery drivers that are going to deliver this to you. And with the help of the GIS, to be able to show the map layout, the 3D map layout of the environment. Okay, working together with our GPS to navigate to pinpoint your place. Now, the user will answer the questions. Now, when they go to online shopping, how do we get to you? How do we deliver to you? This is what the user is going to put up. So, an interface is important. Now, the user is going to answer the questions, yes or no. Okay, the towns, the areas, right, entered in the user interface. Where are you? Which town? Which places? This will also help you to talk about the delivery cost. Okay, now the answers will lead to other questions. For every question will lead to another question, and finally, the inference engine is going to search. What is it searching? It's searching the knowledge base. Okay, of the best route to take, using of course the rule base. And the knowledge base is search for what? The best route between 1 to 2 points, like I said. And then again, the possible routes and schedules are now being displayed. And it will now tell the user how many minutes it would take for that item to be delivered to your doorstep and the cost. Now, a good example is your Amazon. Okay, your Amazon over here in Nigeria, we have Jumia, okay, and a lot of them. Okay, so this is the process in which this is what carried out. How many marks is it? 6 marks. So it's quite a lot. So you have to actually think this through. And when you answer this, it has to be in relation to what the question. Don't forget. Now for question 6. Bluetooth is a method of wireless communication. And this is under networks, which is chapter 4 in the textbook. Okay, we'll talk about Bluetooth, we'll talk about Wi-Fi. They are both wireless communication. State 2 devices found in the home which can be connected via Bluetooth. Found in the home. My headphone, I can think of my headphone connected by Bluetooth. I can think of speakers, right? Speakers connected by Bluetooth. I can think of printers in the home that are connected by Bluetooth. My smartphone connected by Bluetooth. Okay, and yes. Okay, so these are the things that can be connected, and we have a lot of them though. Yeah. So this is a very practical question. Question 7. Describe the characteristics of a primary key and a foreign key. Now, this is very practical. It's a practical question because now this is chapter 18 of the textbook talking about database. Okay, and we're talking about relationships. Okay, relationships. That's what we're talking about. Relationship. Now, the whole essence of a primary key is to uniquely what? Identify what? Records. It simply means that they are unique. It can identify a record, and once a primary key has been set, it cannot have a null value. Simply means that the records cannot be what? Empty. The records cannot be empty. On the other hand, for the foreign key is what helps us to be able to what? Link relationships. Work with me. Now, in the foreign key is the primary key in another table. That's what they are, right? It's what? A primary key in another what? Table. So it is needed to what? To act as a link in what? In creating what? That relationship. And when you're creating relationship, there are 3 things you see, right? Apart from the relationship type. What are the relationship type? One-to-one, one-to-many, and many-to-many. Okay, now, the other things you see, information integrity, cascading, okay, update, cascading, delete. Okay, now the next thing is, it is only present. The foreign key is only present in a relational database, not in a flat database, in a relational database. And this is important. Okay, so these are very, very important. Okay, it's very, very, very important that you need to know that. Okay, very important. Okay, question 8 let's look at question 8. Okay, please, if you have any question, you can just drop it up in the comment section and I'll be so happy to explain. Okay, so I hope you have clarity to this. Okay, many devices in the home can connect to the internet. These are called smart devices. And before you begin to start asking about this, now you see this in chapter 5 in the textbook, the effect of using IT. Okay, now they are smart devices. Your smartphone is a smart device. Okay, they cannot connect to the internet. Now describe 4 benefits of using the smart devices. Let's start with smart TVs. Okay, that's the first thing. Literally the first thing that came to my mind. Right? smart TVs. So smart TVs allows program to be recorded remotely. Okay, your favorite shows can be recorded. Okay, it also means that your smart TVs allow views on demand via the internet. Smart fridges, okay, can allow food to be what automatically what added to what to the food order. Okay, and then again we talk about for your smart devices, it can also what control what the heating from your smartphone. You can control with the help of your smartphone, you can be able to control the heating of your home to a warm home, your air conditioner with your smartphone. Okay, now your smart devices can send alerts to what to your phones or your portable devices to tell you that, see, there's an intruder or something. It can do that. Okay, then again it can control the power to devices from anywhere in the home, which saves you money. So probably you have on anything, probably they took light or something, maybe there was a power glitch, and when you left your home there wasn't a form of power supply, and now there is, and you can actually use your smart devices to actually turn off the lights at home. Okay, so and this also increases a sense of what security in the home. Okay, due to what monitor what the CCTV. You can, with the help of the CCTV, you can monitor your home, and that will give you a sense of security as well. Okay, so there are lots of them. Like I said, you see this in chapter 5 of your textbook. Let's go there. Chapter 5 of the textbook. Okay, right here, and then you're going to see what I'm talking about: data security issues, social interaction, monitoring as much as possible. So they are all here. Okay, so you have to take your time to go through it, and then you see what I'm talking about, from your smart TVs to your central heating system, etc., etc., etc. Okay. Question 9. A web page can contain 3 web development layers. One of these is the content layer. That's paper 3. Okay, talking about website authoring. Okay, so let's look at this. Now, state one use of the content layer. Now we have 3 of them. Don't forget, the first one is I'm not going to mention it in any of the order, right? But we have the content layer, we have the presentation layer, and then we have the behavior layer. So now they want now in terms of the content, they want one use of it. Okay, so these are the 3 development layers. For the content layer, it helps to create the structure of the web page. Okay, and also it is used to enter information of the web page. What are we talking about? Let's go to chapter 20, the last chapter of the textbook, chapter 21. I think I can just do on my keyboard, page down. Okay, page down. No, let me do home, end. Okay, I want to do end. Okay, end. Okay, so just to show you where it is, it's usually on the first page in chapter 21. The first page in chapter 21, you're going to see it there, so you don't have to look too much. Yes, so right here you're going to see it, web development layer. So we have the content layer. In fact, a website is a collection of individuals but related web pages. Okay, and they're stored and hosted by a web server. And now we have this of them. Now for the content layer, this is where the content of the web page is. The text, images are placed. It's also where the page structure, such as the frame, tables, hyperlinks are placed. That's why it helps to create the structure of the web page, and also this way you enter your informations on the web page. And it's also sometimes called the structure layer. Okay, sometimes they may talk about it, they may say what is the structure layer, it's still the same thing. Okay, and of course this contents of your web page is done in a language called the HTML, which is the hypertext markup language. Okay, so that's what the content layer does. The content of your web page, your text, images. For your presentation, this is where the CSS is found, right? So this is where the visual impact of your web page is created, and the styles to be used, okay, and contain the styles to be used, such as the theme, color, font. Okay, this is what we use using what the CSS. Okay, okay. The behavior layer is for the scripting, such as controlling elements of the web page. This is usually created using what we call the scripting language. Very, very important. Okay, now for the B part, identify the other two web development layer and give a use for it. We've pretty much just said it. Okay, so we have the presentations and we have the behavior. Now for presentation, we use them for the styles, creation of our styles, and that's what it's here, right? And that's what it's here, the styles, okay, which is used to what, to create visual impact of the web page, and then again the styles. It contains the styles to be used. So invariably, these are where the styles are stored. Okay. The next one is the behavior. Okay. Now for the behavior, they are used for the scripting, more or less for scripting. So that's the use for it, the scripting. Now for the presentation, when we talk about the styles, we're talking about holding the CSS, display visual elements, the format of the web page, okay, consistency of the elements on our web page. For behavior, they are scripting, okay. For scripting language like JavaScript is a good example. For JavaScript is also a good example for this. JavaScript is also a good example. Also, it adds functionalities to it, and of course, it adds a bit of interactive content of our web page. Okay. Okay, the next one is some computers have touch screens. Yeah, not all, but some, right? Now, describe 3 benefits. 3 benefits of what? Using a touch screen. Chapter 2. Okay, chapter 2 in the textbook. We're going to see it in chapter 2. We'll talk about the inputs. The touch screen can also be inputs. Okay, yes, we'll see everything, right? Input, output, touch screens. Okay, so what are the benefits of using the touch screen? We can also see touch screens on tablets, on smartphones, on phablets, even on our laptops. Now, for touchscreen, it is quick to select icons. What are those icons? Icons, options, menus. Very quick to select them. It has a small footprint. Okay, right? There is that improved. It allows you to be able to zoom and pinch. Right? Pinch like this, making item selection very, very quick. Okay, chapter 1. You see it in chapter 1 of the textbook. Okay, let me just do home. Chapter 1 in the textbook should be somewhere around under smartphones, mobile computers. Okay, so you just have to go through all this and you see what I'm talking about. The touchscreen capabilities are also there. I can just search for it, touchscreen. Okay, okay, touchscreens. Okay. Okay, so this as an input device, You can also look at it in input device as well. Then again, you can also look at it as use of touchscreen. Okay. You can also look at it also as an output. Okay. So for smartphones, you can see that they have that touch screen in them. Okay, it has a smartphone, they have that touch screen in them as well. Okay, okay, you can see that it is part of the touch screen and keys are activated by simply touching them with a finger or a stylus. Like I said, all these things are found inside when you read them, and then you can be able to just have a knowledge of this. That's why it's very, very important to actually read your textbook. So it also improves the hand or eye coordination as well. That's another benefit for the touch screen. A student has downloaded a file which contains a virus. My God. Describe the possible effect on his computer if he opens the file. Now, a downloaded file that contains a virus. Now, this is chapter 8, talking about security of data. Now, what are the effects of a virus? There are malicious programs that can cause harm to the computer system. That's what viruses, computer viruses. Now, once you open that downloaded file, it can corrupt other files. Okay, it can even cause the computer to crash. Okay, it can cause the computer operations to slow down, and then you begin to see pop-up, unnecessary pop-up on your computer screen. Okay, the B part, explain how the student could prevent the computer from being infected by virus. What are those measures that you have to put for being infected by virus? Okay, ensure you download an up-to-date antivirus. That's pretty much up the food chain. Another thing is scan all portable storage devices or portable medias. Okay, medias, not devices, medias. Okay, scan them before downloading any files or software from them. Scan them before bringing them to your, inserting them into your laptop. And of course, in terms of emails, okay, only open emails from people you know. Don't open spam emails. Okay, scan your computer, regularly scan them. Okay, scan your computer for any form of viruses. It also helps. Okay, some files containing viruses have to be quarantined as they cannot be deleted. Yeah, there's some files that cannot be deleted. Right? Now, this is a practical question. State the type of files that have to be quarantined rather than deleted. System files. Yeah. Okay. Let me show you Windows E. No matter what you do, right here, you cannot delete your system files. These are Windows. You can't delete them. You cannot delete them. Deleting them means the operating system is going to have some issues and you might need to reinstall them again. Okay, you can't do that. Okay, they're system files. Okay, now explain how the software detects and quarantine the file. Now, how many marks is this? 3 marks. So let's see how we can be able to know what to do. Explain how the system detects. Now, how does it detect? You scan the computer for viruses. Now, when you scan the computer for viruses, a virus is found in the file. A good example is I use the malware byte for this. And once I do this, Okay, let me show you something practical before I explain. A malware is also helpful for you doesn't delete anything. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is, let me do this. I'm going to scan. Okay, I'm going to scan, and once I begin, now this was my latest scan. So once I begin my scanning, this is the process is going to go through. You can see scanning for update. Now what it's simply doing is it will scan the computer for viruses. If a virus is found, right, in the file, Jesus, detection 2. Okay, now this is practical. Okay, 10. Wow. Okay. Okay, 22. Okay, and this is recorded. Okay, okay. I know what you're thinking. My system is secure. Okay, probably I've not been doing an update. Okay, guilty as charged. But then again, it's also helpful because I get to teach you and I also get to scan my system. Okay, so if a virus is found in the file, now it allows the user that the file needs to be quarantined, and we're going to see this. And then again, we have to scan the computer to check for what further viruses. So we quarantine. Okay, now this quarantine is it gives the option of the user to accept or reject the quarantine of the file. That's literally what happens. Okay, and now the file is now moved to a hidden directory. You see file hidden by what? Trojan horse. The user does not have the access to what? The quarantine files. Okay, that's invariably the process it has to go through. Okay, now you can see that it's scanning my system files. Okay, and before you know it, it's going to take time, guys. So just to explain this, I'm just going to let it scan. Okay, and if it's done, we get to see how it goes through. Okay, question 12. A tennis coach, right, is creating a presentation to explain to teenagers the basics. Chapter 9. When I see presentation, I see chapter 9, audiences. And we have young children, adults, and older people, right? Now, describe the design feature that must be included. Okay, the scan is complete. Now, this is the option you're going to see. Others. Now, it gives you the option to what? It gives you that option to do what? To quarantine. And I'm going to click on quarantine. You can see it's practical, right? And it's going to quarantine that what? That process. Okay, so it's done. It has been quarantined, and then I can click done. That's simple. Okay, now I can close. Now let's get back to this. Where am I? I think I have closed. Oh boy, I've closed it. It's fine. Let me see if I can get it open. Okay, let's store. So it's fine. All right. Now, so how does this process go through? How does this process go through? Let's look at it real quick. Now, describe the design feature. When we talk about the design feature that must be included to make the presentation appeal to teenagers, like I said, it's chapter 9 in the textbook. Chapter 9 in the textbook. That's how some students are reading. Okay, that's so funny. Okay, right here. Yes. Nope, not there. So we have young children, adults, and older children, and then we have older people. Now, for teenagers, they are older children, not young children. For teenagers, they're older children. So what happens is we can a balance of what? Pictures and text. Okay, the content has to be interesting. We can use images for relating topics. Okay, use bullet points to make content easier to read. Um, Background music can also be used for teenagers. Consistent layout across all slides. Okay, use of videos, animation relating to topic. Um, I think that's all for that. Yeah. So balance of size between the headings and text. So yes. And how many mark is this? 4 mark. Okay. Use. I've talked about these image related topics. Balance of use of white spaces and content. Okay. The B part. The designer need to be aware of copyright legislation when creating presentation. Explain the need for copyright legislation. Explain the need for that. Well, this chapter 9, we'll talk about copyright legislation. We're talking about a type of intellectual property. Okay? Because you need to be aware of it. Now, it simply means that it gives the owner of the copyright exclusive, it gives the exclusive right to make copies of the work. Okay? Now, what I simply mean is this. It gives that owner of the copyright the exclusive right to make copies of the work. In fact, it allows the owner to give permission to others to use the work. That's what copyright legislation is all about. It's a law for copyright. If you must use somebody's work, you have to obtain permission. We see that in music, we see that in movies, and that's why most time when you go on the social networking site to post music of artists that you have no permission from, they take off the music from that video because you don't have the copyright legislation. So you see this right here in chapter 9. I think we're already there already. Okay, so it should be right here. Somewhere this copyright, this copyright privacy, the copyright legislation should be here. No, I'm saying. Okay. For copyright, something protected by copyright law. Okay, in the same way as music and whatever. So when software is supplied on, okay, they must be obeyed, right? So it simply means that you need permission, use the name of the copyright software, and then again, etc., etc., etc. It's all right here. Please go through it. I think it's going to make a whole lot of sense. So it's a type of intellectual property. It gives the owner of the copyright exclusive right to make copies of their own work, right, over the internet. It allows the owner of the work to give permissions to others to use it. People can watch movie either by streaming or from a Blu-ray disc. Streaming, right? Netflix, Showmax. Okay, I know, right? It's not. I'm not all reading. Sometimes I do see a movie or two. Okay, all right. Give two advantages of watching the movie by streaming, rather than from a Blu-ray disc. Now we'll talk about the Blu-ray disc is chapter 3. Optical, they're optical. We have CD, DVD, and Blu-ray. So Blu-ray, the high definition, it has more size, okay, than the other two. Okay. Now streaming. Let's talk about streaming. Now for streaming, it is cheaper. And now students always use this. It is cheaper, it is easier, it is accurate, it is effective. These are vague response. Yes. It is cheaper. Why is it cheaper? It's cheaper than buying a Blu-ray player. Because for you to play the storage media, you must have a storage device. You get it? Okay. That was cool, right? So for you to be able to have a Blu-ray is a storage media. For you to be able to have a storage media, you should have a storage device. So that means it's cheaper than buying the Blu-ray player. You have to buy a player, a DVD player, to be able to play a DVD. The same way for Blu-rays. And streaming works on different internet connected devices. I can watch it from anywhere, any devices. Unlike Blu-ray, if you want to play a Blu-ray, you have to have a Blu-ray device, right? A DVD player. If you don't have it, you can't play it. But I can watch it on my laptop, I can watch it on my tablet, I can watch it on my phablet, watch it on my smartphone, on my desktop, okay? So it's really, really cool. And another thing is the streaming uses what we call a simpler interface. A very simpler interface. That's what it does. It uses a very simpler interface that we can be able to use. Okay. Compare RAM and ROM. Your answer must include similarities and differences. RAM and ROM. Chapter 1. Chapter 1. Random access memory and read-only memory. These are called internal memories. You see it in chapter 1 called internal memory. Okay. Now, let's look at the similarities and let's look at the differences. Let's start with the similarities for it. Now, for the similarities, they are both. I've said the answer before. Internal memories, right? So similarity, okay, and their primary storage, okay, and also data can both be read. Remember, it's read access memory, it's random access memory, read only memory. So they are both be read, right? Okay, they are both read. The data on them can be read. That's what it simply means. So data on RAM and data on ROM can be read. One cannot be modified. One can. One can be read and written. One is read only. You see the way I'm doing it? But the similarity is there, okay? Is the data on both of them can be read. And both are directly accessed by the central processing unit, unlike the external that are not accessed by the CPU. They are directly accessed by the central processing unit, which is the CPU. Okay. Let me show you in the textbook. What of you like? Okay, what's this man saying? He's saying too much. Okay, let me show you in the textbook. Okay, let me show you in the textbook real quick. Chapter 1. Yes. Okay. Chapter 2. Okay, that was 2. Internal memories. Okay, this should be. No. Yes. Internal memories. Right. Now let's just jump to the differences. Right. So you can see that volatile, non-volatile can be read, written, read only. Can you pick the difference between them? Now, obviously, we don't. Let me see if we have. We don't have the similar differences, just the differences. But you can see that if you read this, you will see that for the random access memory, they can be written to and read from. And there is a place there. If you read this, you see that contains some coding. Boots now. Turn on. Can only be read from. The main advantage is information is lost. That's okay. So they can be accessed. I think should be somewhere. Okay, maybe yes. This is it. Internal memories and backing storage. This is what I'm talking about. Literally talking about, because internal memories are all together. Okay. Now you can see that right here can be read directly by what? By the CPU. Another one, when they talk about internal memories, what does it mean? They are fixed inside the computer. We'll talk about smaller memories. They are your primary word storage. Okay? Alright. Differences. Now you start looking at, this is the similarities here. For differences is where we go back to the other one. This is the difference between them. No? The difference between them. Now, RAM is what? Volatile. RAM is what? Non-volatile. Okay? One is temporary memory, one is permanent memory. Another one is for RAM, it can be written and read from. ROM is what? Read only. It means data stored on them cannot be altered. Okay. Another one is ROM is used for what? Startup. That's where the BIOS is used to store BIOS and other data needed as startup. Okay, it stores the startup instruction, whereas the RAM is used to store what? The current program or instructions. Whenever your system is loaded, it's loaded to the ROM. From the ROM, and then it goes in to that. Now let me show you what I'm talking about right here. Now watch this. When the computer is turned on, the BIOS what carries out what we call, BIOS talk about the basic input and output system. It carries out a check to check if all the basics, your keyboard, your mouse, video card, everything is working. Okay. Now once everything is working, the next thing is it loads the what? The operating system from the ROM to what? Into the RAM. Okay? Yeah. Hope we're having fun with this. Tower Stores is a small company that does not make much profit. The managing director is deciding whether to implement, okay, a new IT system using direct changeover or parallel what running. Describe the advantage and disadvantage of using what? A direct changeover compared with what? Parallel running in this scenario. In this what scenario? Let's get the advantage of using direct changeover. Chapter 7. Implementation. And we have 4 implementation phase. We have direct changeover, parallel running, pilot phase, the pilot implementation, and then we have the phase implementation. There are 4 of them. Chapter 7 in the textbook, so you can see what I'm talking about. Chapter 7. Okay. Can you see that? Okay. Now let's talk about direct against what? The power. So right here is your answer. Now for direct, the benefits. What's the benefit? Are immediate. Okay. Whereas the parallel takes time for the new system to what? To be running. That's an advantage. Okay, that's a huge advantage. Another thing is with direct changeover, right? They only have to pay for one set of staffs. Therefore, it saves cost. Okay, it saves cost. Okay, and how does it save cost? Because only one set of systems is running. With direct, the maintenance is cheaper. Okay, the maintenance is cheaper as there's only one set of computers. Another advantage is data is only entered once. So there is no duplication of data. It saves that duplication of data. And the new system, in direct changeover, the system is checked thoroughly before implementation. Now, we'll talk about the disadvantage of using a changeover over parallel. Staff has to be trained and be fully ready to use the new system before it is implemented. Now that is the advantage because there is no time to do that. Now another advantage is staff cannot be trained on the new system, whereas in parallel both systems are running, so you have time to train them. Now if there is a problem, then all data is lost. It can be disastrous. Okay, for what? For the company. Remember, there is a small IT for the company. It can be disastrous for the company. Okay, with direct, staff cannot be trained gradually. So all these points are what you're putting out. From all these, I'm able to just look at them and see how to deduce the marks, because then again, the mark is what? 6. So 3 advantage, 3 disadvantage, 4 advantage, 3 disadvantage. Okay. All right, let's look at the next one. We're almost done. Okay, so you've sticked around. Thank you so much for sticking around. A school car park is controlled by a barrier. When teachers enter the car park, okay, their number plate is red. And the barrier is raised automatically because the system, right, has this is done what we call the ANPR. It's ICT application automated number plate recognition. So the system recognizes that plate and the barrier is raised. Now this is what is happening. This is the barrier here. Your actuator or your motor. It can be linear, it can be rotary. This is the pressure sensor. Okay. Now this is the microphone, the keypad, the speaker. This is the camera. Okay. Now they said visitor can use the keypad as an input device to enter a code which allows the barrier to be read. Okay. Now, before we go this, can I teach you the ANPR? Can I do that? Okay. ANPR. Chapter 6, ICT application. I have a video on it and you can check it on my YouTube channel, okay, which I'm going to introduce to you guys in a minute. Okay. So the ANPR right here. Now, this is the function of the ANPR, which is the automated plate recognition system. Now, it is used to read what? The number plate in numbers of application. Now, let's describe the examples using a car park to enable entry and exit to be automatically controlled by a computer system. Now, this is what happens. Now, the sensor, which reads analog data, detects the presence of a vehicle. Now, you can see a camera reading this and sends a signal to instruct the camera to capture an image of the front of the vehicle, to capture it. The sensor will read the environment, capture it, and then this can be infrared camera to give a clear picture for use at night. Now the next thing is the algorithm used is to locate and isolate only the plate number from the image taken by the camera. Right? It also takes account of the size of the camera. Now the brightness is adjusted and everything to ensure that each number of the plate is then segmented. To segment it, don't do all it does. Now we store it in the database. Now once all of this happens, now the car barrier is raised and the motorist is issued with a ticket. The ticket shows the date and time of entering the car park. When the motorist returns to the car park, they insert their ticket into a machine which calculates what? The car park changes. The payment is then registered on the database. Now, the whole essence of this is it's also used to also locate cars that are defaulting traffic, and also to raise barriers as much as possible. Okay, so when the sensor reads it, it sends it to the camera, right? And it's going to the algorithm is going to take out the plate number, compare to it, and then if it's what's in the system, it's going to be raised. If it does not recognize it, it's not going to be raised. Okay, now let's go back to it. Identify 3 other input devices shown in this figure 16.1. Identify 3 other input devices. So what are the 3 other input devices? We have pressure sensor. Look at the pressure sensor. Remember, sensors are input devices. Okay, the pressure sensor. We have keypads, microphone, cameras. Okay, so these are the input devices in figure 16.1. Automated number plate recognition is used to read and check the plate of the vehicle. Discuss the benefits and drawbacks of using what we call what? The AMPL. What is the benefit? What is the drawback? So let's look at this. For the benefits, it can save time in having to what? Check the number plate manually. Unlike before, you check the plate number and you check the logbook to see if that plate number is found in the records. And then again, there are less errors, as the recognition system is automatic. There's an algorithm that automatically checks it, break it down with OCR to ensure that it is segmented. It saves money because there's no need to what? To check the plate number manually. Okay. The secure is a secure system at it only stores what? Vehicles. The plate numbers. Drawbacks. The drawback for this is, whether we like it or not, it's just like when we are creating a firewall. All vehicle needs to be added to a database. So it's not something that is done automatically. It has to check with the database to see that that number matches what is there in the database. Now, if the plate number is obscured or dirty, it's difficult to read. So even if it's matching, the barrier will not open. And that can be its advantage. Some plate numbers cannot be read due to what? Odd font, sideways, and we have to factor that in as well. Okay, data need to be kept up to date. If the person changes the plate number, we also have to update it in database. It is expensive to set up and to maintain the system as well. Okay, all right. And lastly, verification and validation are used to what? Check data. Verification and validation. This is seen in chapter 7 for validation, and for verification you see it under proofing. Proofing is chapter 10 is communication, 11 is imaging, 12 is layout, 13 should be chapter 13. Let's check. Should be chapter 13. So let's look at it. Chapter 13. Chapter 13. Okay. No. 10 is communication, 11 is image, 11 is what? Oh, sorry, 11 is file management. Okay, 14. 11 file management. Okay, 11 file management. I skipped file management. Sorry about that. So 14 should be proofing. Okay, 14 is styles. Okay, 15 then Yes, 15 it is. Okay, so we can see validations here. Okay, so this is practical as well. Data validations. Um, so we have, they're also here as well, right here, validation routines. But you can see this also in chapter 7. We will talk about we'll have to talk about validation routine, because when you are designing the software, you have to also talk about the file structure, data structure, data structure, the validation routine as well. So what is the validation? But let's talk about verification. Let's talk about verification. Spell check, to check for errors. Grammar check is what? We check the text against a number of grammatical rules that improves the language structure of your work. Um, Spell check carried out is by the software, often by a word processor on the text, and it checks each word and compares with the one in the dictionary. That's what spell check. When the document says spell check your work, they're just comparing it. So most of the time, it may be correct, but it may not be found in the dictionary. Let's talk about verification. Let me talk about verification. Now, in verification, we have two: double entry and visual verification. Right here. It's a way of preventing errors when data is copied from one medium to another. So you are preventing errors when you are copying it from what? You are comparing it to what? From the original source. Okay? Now, verification does not stop all errors. Okay? But it helps to what? Reduce the errors made when data is entered. And there are two common ways. Okay? Verification checks are carried out, right? And we have the visual verification and what? The double data what? Entry, like I said. Now let's look at the visual verification. Visual verification is also called the visual check. So you are checking the data, and you are checking for the data entry by comparing the what? The original what? Paper what? Document. That's what you are visually comparing. But when we are talking about verification as a whole, we are checking for errors to ensure that data has been copied from one medium to another, from paper to disk. Okay, and that's why we have two of them. Now, double data entry talks about the data is entered twice, often by two different people to compare. And the system will not compare it. The computer will not compare these two data, and if there's any difference, it's going to flag an error. It can then be corrected by what? The user. Okay, now let's go back to the validation routines. Now, for validation routine, these are our checks. Okay, what about validation? It is checking that the data is what? Reasonable. It is often a process where data is checked to see if it was satisfied what? Certain what? Criteria when input to what? To a computer. Now, what are those checks? We have range check. Those range checks are a given range. Are they within this range? Yes or no? Right? Length check. Restrict to what? To 2 characters. Okay? Character check. Right? To check if it's what? The same character. Format check. Okay? Present check. All these are explained in chapter 7. Like I said, this is chapter 7 under validation routine, and you see all this as well when you go to chapter 7. Okay, now let's go back to the question. Identify and describe two methods of what? Verification. We have the visual check or visual verification, and what does it do? Right? You are comparing the data from what? The original document, or you are rereading the document referring to what? The original document, whichever one. Double data entry. Right? This is the data that is entered usually by two people and is being compared by the computer to check which one is correct. So one person types in the data again to the original document. The second person will type in the data from the original document, and the two is compared by the system. So that's the description of them. Explain the following validation check. Present check. Let's go back to chapter 7. Let's go back to chapter 7 so we can see what we are talking about under design phase. So you see it here. Nope, this data structure. Down here, validation routines. You see them here. Range check. This will check to see if the input lies between an acceptable upper value and acceptable lower. So it's a range 10 to 50. So if it's 10 to 50, for example, if it's not within this range, it should flag an error. Character or type to see if it's the same type, if they're all letters or numbers, right? If it's of the same type. Length check. It checks to see if the data input contains only the required numbers of characters. For example, if there are 8 characters, it should be 8 characters. Format, right? To see if it's in the correct format. Is it date, month, year, or year, month, day? It has to be in the same format. For present check, what present check does is it checks that data entered into the field and it is not left empty. When you are filling a form or you are filling any online form, those mandatory fields must not be left empty. For check digit, it checks to see the extra number which has been calculated from the other digit. Okay. For example, if they have been transposed during the input, it will check the digit. Okay. If it's, for example, 1, 2, 3, 4. If it's now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it will check that extra. Right, and need to check any extra digit that has been added to it. So for the present check, what it then does is to check the input data does not contain any is not empty or any invalid is not empty, or as much as possible that it is not it's not empty. Also, it checks that the data has been present in that field. That's the same thing we are talking about. So either it's not empty, or to ensure that there is a value or a label in that field. Okay, as much as possible. What we are now saying is, for present check, it helps to check that there is data in that field. Okay, for type check, what does type check? Type check or or character check. You can see it here. Type check or character check. There are two things for type check. Check the input data does not contain invalid characters. If it's number, it should be number, not text. Okay, and it also checks to see that if it's of the correct data type. Is it the correct data? Are they all text? Are they all numbers? As much as possible. And with this, we have come to the end of this paper. Okay, it's very important to read your textbook. You know what I've seen in this paper is, if you don't read your textbook, it's not just past papers, but you have to read your textbook. When you read your textbook, it builds confidence. Even when you're looking at past papers, you have confidence. Okay, you have confidence to be able to do you have confidence to be able to attempt these questions based on what you have read. And finally, I want to introduce you to a very important, and this is it right here. This YouTube channel, Ajiro Tech, is loaded with lots of information, and I'm not just talking about the people 1. I'm talking about people 1, people 2. I'm talking about people 3. They are all there. For people 2, as the time of this recording, presentation, document production, database is all done. So go there, practice with them. Trust me, the more you practice, the more you see yourself getting better and better and better. And subscribe and share this with a friend, with a classmates, with everyone, right? Thank you very much, and I'm going to see you next time. Bye.